Then on August 5th of 1943, off the coast of North Carolina, near Moorheart City, we were torpedoed and sunk with a loss of 100 shipmates by an enemy submarine less than 2 miles from the U.S. coast. According to the examining board, they came to the conclusion that I and Lieutenant David F. Keller were sucked under with the ship after 57 years. I can still remember, and the officers trying to get to the side of the ship. When I came to, it was pitch black in the water, and I started to kick to reach the surface. And my whole life's history ran through my mind and ended up on my mother and father. That tells you how close I came to losing my left. I never thought D.F. Keller again.
And then they decided it was about time they put me in training. And I had requested and I got the training that I wanted. They sent me to flying school, and I ended up flying P-40s, and I was a single engine pilot. And I got my orders. And I looked at the orders and I said, I don't understand them. They said, well, it's very simple. You're going to be a co-pilot on a B-24. Well, I said, I'm a pilot. They said, well, we've taken care of that with the rubber stamps. Because they stamped me as a twin engine pilot. And so that's how I ended up in a B-24. It was kind of interesting because I'm sitting in the co-pilot seat in this great big airplane, you know, and they had to teach us how to fly it. And I guess that we had some interesting times because the instructor pilot one time got a little excited. He didn't know how to get back to the base. And I said, you got a navigator there? Didn't he tell you what it is? He said, yeah, but I said, I'll get us back. He said, how do you think you can do it? Very simple, because I'm a fighter pilot, right? He says, yes, but you're trained to be a bomber pilot. So down on the deck, I took the bomber. And I said to the navigator, read the railroad sign. I read the railroad sign. I said, well, follow the railroad sign into Savannah. So we did.
I knew we were way out of base, way out of sync from where we usually do our area of operations. And next thing I knew, he banked that helicopter to the left, and I was a receiver. We got shot down, we crashed the helicopter. And I don't know how it never exploded when it hit the ground. I remember bailing out of it. It's just like a big, the jungle's thick, and it come down, the auto rotated it down somehow. When we dived out of it, we were taking fire. Like I say, I knew we were in a hot spot. This wasn't the normal mission. We got out, and started firing back. We couldn't see nothing, you just fire back. You can't see nobody, the jungle's so thick. We spent about 20 minutes on the ground, and the Cobra saved our butts. But they rescued us, brought us back to Food Bend, and they went all through me. And I knew I had a little problem with my wrist here. And I sat there in a makeshift hospital back then. He says, we got your flight vest. I said, that's good. What are you going to do? What are you getting at? What do I care? You got my flight vest. Could have left it with the helicopter. He said, no, we want to show you something. Okay, what's up? He said, is this your name on it? I said, yeah. He said, you better take a look at this. I have one here and one here. The flight vest was that thick, only another 1/8 inch to go, I got. When he banked that helicopter, he banked it right into the fire. I got one in the wrist, no one else got anything but me. I took it all on, let's say, the left side of the helicopter. So I had 1, 2, plus 3. If the flight vest was not on, I wouldn't be here.
One guy another guy and I jumped in a hole there, and a shell went off, and he jumped and hollered, and he turned his head around. A piece of metal had gone through his helmet and stuck here in his neck. Good thing it wasn't a big one; it didn't go too far. But I hollered for a corpsman. I mean, what do you holler at corpsman for? There's no corpsman around here. They're all busy. I just yanked it out, put a Band-Aid on it, and took off. I told him, go down to the beach, they'll put you aboard ship or something. And we come on these 3 tanks filled with water. And it had been better than 3 weeks since we had our clothes off. We had to peel them off, actually. And we just stripped right down. And I looked at that darn picture 2 or 3 times after I got it. One time I looked at it and I said, you know, the guy right across the way there, he's a buddy of mine from California. So I remember right, he stood right across from me. And that's me with my back turned.
His best side.
How long were you held prisoner?
7 months.
7 months.
I was under 100 pounds when I was released.
Talk about the day that you were freed.
I was freed by Patton's 14th Armored.
Okay.
And this free that didn't happen overnight. But anyway, there was heavy exchange of fire and actually questionable who was hit. And the GIs in the camp were all huddled under a bench, under anything could get under, inside preferably. And there were Germans firing at Germans at the main gate area. And people found that hard to believe, that Germans would bother defending us. But they did. In fact, I think there was some killed.
When we stopped where our halfway point was, he stopped. And this is where the slaves were coming up out of the mines. The Polish people, the Hungary people, Hungarians, the Russians that they captured. They made slaves out of them to do the mining and do the other work. And as I say here, I never seen walking skeletons before. They were so thin, just coveralls. I don't think they had anything else on but their coveralls. And they were carrying their meal for the day, a pumpernickel. And they were so glad to see us, they throwed them up into the truck for us. Oh, hooray, 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 America, America, America.
I was going up a hill, and a friend of mine heard this nice noise, and he grabbed a hold of me and pulled me down. I left my leg up there, though, and I got hit in the ankle. Well, I had a nice corpsman. The corpsmen that were assigned to us were great. He pulled my boot out. My sock was nice and red. And he started picking he picked out all the first at the boot there, everything else, all little pieces. Then he picked out stuff in my sock and pulled a lot of stuff out of my ankle there. My ankle didn't hurt. He moved around, he tried it there, and he even shook it. And I thought he was going to use a hammer to knock the other stuff out, but he was really fine. So he says, "Okay, Murphy," and I'll give you a story on that later. He says, "Okay, Murphy, you're all set." He put my nice red sock on, put my boot on, and he wrapped it with, I think it was a skivvy shirt. I didn't have any problems.
Frankfurt, Germany was our worst mission. It's a long ways. Of course, the longest mission I flew was Brooks, Czechoslovakia. It took 11 hours, and that was a long mission. We bombed an oil field there that was pretty productive. But in Frankfurt, we got 2 engines shot out, and of course, we still had our bomb laid. We didn't get to the target. We got shot right after the initial point. And of course, that dropped us out. down, and we had a deputy lead, was on my wing. He took over, and we lost altitude. We got down, well, got down to about 10,000 feet. It seemed like we were almost on the ground, and all alone. And we flew all the way back from Frankfurt's a long way. We flew all the way across Germany, France, English Channel, and losing altitude most of the time. Got shot up one other time and got split up. The Germans got smart. They'd stay underneath us, flying out of the, from Europe over to England. Of course, the radar couldn't pick them up. And then when we got in our flying patterns, they started shooting at us. And one night they kind of hit us a couple of times, mortars. And we landed at an English Air Force base. I've forgotten the name of it. But my God, those English, it was a college dormitory that they had for the officers. And beautiful living quarters. That ain't nothing like what we had.
About being reported lost, we all turned our names in at Pearl. When we got over the base, we turned our names in. Of course, they sent them back to Washington. But I think they got them mixed up with casualty, because my name was, "We're sorry to inform you your son was lost at war at Pearl Harbor. Sorry," that sort of thing, you know. And I've got the
Telegram?
yeah, telegram. My mother got it. And it went about a week before they discovered their error, so then Namath signed the first one. Of course, he got into the war after that, but somebody else signed the second one and come back. We hope we didn't it's disinformation, you know, but it has been discovered your son is alive and well. He'll get in touch soon. Now, we were at sea, see. I didn't even know this happened. See, I'm out there in the sea with the rest of the bunch. And these tankers would bring oil out to us. We'd be 5,000 miles way out in the middle there. And they'd bring tankers. Now, I've always wondered how in the world they made it, because usually they were alone. A good Lord, a submarine could drop them easy, you know, because they didn't have any protection that I could see. I'd see them coming over the horizon, and they'd say, "That's our fuel." So they'd fuel up. They had big pipes that they'd fill you up. Well, they also brought us our mail. Now, we'd been at sea a couple months, see. Everybody wondered, where's the Navy? Well, that's where we were. But they brought our mail out, and here I had some back mail, and I was opening. I was reading my own obituary. I stood right up on the back of my neck, you know.